When I was little, my father was like a giant to me. He was tall, strong, and always seemed to know the answer to everything. To a child, he was invincible, like a real-life superhero. But what made him truly remarkable wasn't his strength or how much he knew, it was his heart. My father worked as a mechanic. Every day he would leave early in the morning and come home late, his hands covered in grease and his face tired. Yet he never complained. No matter how long his day had been, he always had a smile for me. That smile made everything feel okay, no matter how hard things were. I remember one evening when I was around 7 years old. I had a school project, and I needed to build a small house out of cardboard. I was frustrated because I couldn't make the wall stand up. My father sat down with me, even though he was exhausted from work, and helped me piece it together. He didn't just build the house, he taught me patience. Everything takes time and effort, he said. But if you don't give up, you'll always find a way. Those words stayed with me, not just for the project, but for life. He had this way of teaching lessons without making them feel like lessons. It was in his actions, his small gestures, and the way he faced challenges without fear. As I grew older, I began to see the sacrifices he made for our family. He gave up his own dreams so that I could chase mine. He didn't have much, but he always made sure I had everything I needed. He worked long hours, often taking extra shifts to pay for my school supplies or a new pair of shoes. Looking back, I realize how much he gave up without ever asking for anything in return. One winter when I was about 12, our heater broke and we couldn't afford to fix it. The nights were freezing, and I remember waking up to find my father had placed extra blankets over me. He stayed up late trying to repair the heater himself, even though he had no idea how to fix it. "Why don't you rest, Dad?" I asked him. He smiled and said, "A father's job is to keep his family warm, even on the coldest nights." That moment showed me the depth of his love. He was always putting us first, even if it meant he had to bear the discomfort himself. His love wasn't loud or flashy. It was quiet, steady, and unwavering. When I turned 18, I got accepted into a university far from home. I was excited, but also nervous. On the day I was leaving, my father handed me a small notebook. Inside, he had written short pieces of advice, one for every week of the year. "Whenever you feel lost," he said, "open this. It's like I'm there with you." That notebook became my lifeline. During my first year away, I would read his notes whenever I felt homesick or unsure of myself. One of my favorites said, "Life is like fixing a car. Sometimes it breaks down, but with the right tools and effort, you can always get it running again." His words were simple but full of wisdom, and they kept me going through tough times. University life was challenging, but my father's support never wavered. He would call me every Sunday to ask how I was doing. Sometimes we'd talk for hours. Other times it was just a quick check-in. But those calls meant the world to me. They reminded me that no matter how far away I was never alone. Years later, when I started my own family, I finally understood the sacrifices my father had made. I found myself quoting his words to my own children, teaching them the same lessons he had taught me. One day, my eldest son was frustrated because he couldn't fix his toy car. I sat down with him, just like my father had done for me, and said, "Everything takes time and effort, but if you don't give up, you'll always find a way." Now, whenever I see my father, I make sure to tell him how much he means to me. He's older now, with more wrinkles and less strength, but to me, he's still the same giant, the same hero. We often sit together on the porch, talking about life, the past, and the future. Sometimes he shares stories about his own childhood, and I see where his strength and kindness come from. My father taught me that being a hero isn't about being perfect or having superpowers. It's about showing up every day, even when it's hard. It's about putting others before yourself and loving without limits. His life was a testament to the power of quiet, selfless love. One day, during one of our porch talks, I asked him if he ever regretted the sacrifices he made. He looked at me, his eyes filled with warmth, and said, "Never. Seeing you succeed, seeing you happy, that's all I ever wanted." Those words stayed with me. They reminded me of the kind of parent I wanted to be, the kind of person I wanted to be. My father's love shaped me in ways I'll never fully understand, but I'll always be grateful for it. As I watch my own children grow, I see glimpses of my father in them, in their laughter, their determination, and their kindness. I see the legacy he passed down to me. And I hope that one day they'll see me the way I see him, as a giant, a hero, and the heart of our family. So, here's to my father, my hero. Thank you for everything, Dad. You showed me what it means to live with love, strength, and kindness. And for that, I'll always be grateful.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. See you soon.